Hey there YouTube and fellow gun enthusiasts. This is my first instructional or how-to video, and I haven't really seen anybody doing any videos on it, but this is going to be how to install the Magpul MOE forend with the factory metal heat shield. It takes a little work, but I think it's worth it. I love the way it looks with both, so I'm hoping this video will be helpful. The first thing you want to do is, if you have a bench vise, it'll make everything a lot easier. I guess you could use vice grips for this part, but I wouldn't really recommend it. But the first thing you want to do is take the barrel out of the gun. Let me set my iPod down so I can pull the pump back halfway. Okay, take the barrel out of the gun. Alright, now that the barrel's free, I'm going to come over here to your bench vise or whatever you have and pat it with something. I just use rags. If you have pieces of leather, it'd be a lot better, because if it has sharp corners, it can punch through the rags, but it's crude, it worked, whatever. And then you're going to want to take your barrel, and from the factory, the way it comes is kind of straight down. As you can see, mine, I rounded it off, crimped it on the ends here, and rounded it off to the contour of the barrel. You just want to put it in your vise and very slowly and easily tighten it until you get it to where you want it or feel comfortable with it. Mine works fine just like this, even with that little bit of gap. One thing you do want to remember is the heat shield isn't even for some reason. At least it's not on mine. It comes down lower on this side than it does on this side, so you have to kind of tilt it in there if you want to do both sides at once. But yeah, that's basically what it should look like. And then, even after you do that, it still will rub a little, at least to the point where I didn't like it. And I didn't want to wait for it to break in, so I took some 220 grit, I believe, sandpaper, and sanded off these edges in here. I don't know if you can really see. Get it to focus. Yeah. It used to come up to a point right here. As you can see, it's still rubbing a little bit, but I got it pretty smooth, and it's good enough. This side doesn't actually rub on the point. It actually rubs along this edge, as for some reason the heat shield's not even. So I sanded that down some too, and it's pretty smooth now. But what you can do is, it might be easier if you took the forend off the gun to sand it, but if you do it like this, as I showed you, you can see where it rubbed here. You can sand it and then put the barrel back in, rack your slide a few times, and then it'll show where it's rubbing, and you can sand that down and do it however many times you want it until you get it where you're comfortable with it. And it looks a little chalky. It turns a whitish color when you sand it, but when you're all done, you can take a rag and some WD-40 or anything like that, Supertech lubricant, whatever, and you just rub it on there with the rag, and it'll turn black and look basically unmodified again. As you can see, the outside edge of mine doesn't look modified in any way. I guess you could do this part with a Dremel tool. I wouldn't really recommend it personally, just because of the fact that if you slip, it could really mess something up. But yeah, that's basically it. Just fiddle with this. Once you get this bent, just fiddle with this until you get it where you want it. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just ask.